Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name's Don Arleth, and you're watching Midday Report here on TVP World, where we track the most important and developing stories of the day. Let's go ahead and get started. A high-stakes EU summit in Brussels collapsed after Belgium blocked out of the plan to use frozen Russian assets to fund a 140 billion euro loan for Ukraine, triggering accusations that Prime Minister Bart de Wever put national interests above European security. However, this could be a result of Russian pressure and perhaps even threats to the Belgian Prime Minister's life, should he agree to confiscate the frozen Russian assets. Our EU correspondent Angela Scugins has more.
Some reality is needed in this debate, and Europe should set its own red lines. This is what one EU diplomat told TVP World on condition of anonymity. It was in response to remarks made by the Belgian Prime Minister Bart earlier this week that emerged on Thursday. At a public event in Brussels, the Belgian Prime Minister stated that Russian defeat is a fairy tale and not one to be believed. A few days later, his government announced continued opposition to the European Commission's push to give Ukraine a reparations loan off the back of immobilized Russian state assets currently held by a Belgian financial institution, Euroclear. The comments made chime with other remarks sent to the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen late last week, in which the Belgian Prime Minister described the proposal as fundamentally wrong and potentially disastrous. EU heads of state will gather in Brussels in exactly 2 weeks' time to vote on the matter and decide what their red lines are. Angela Scugins from Brussels for TVP World.
The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe is holding a high-level meeting in Vienna today. OSCE member states will be represented by their respective foreign ministers, with Poland's top diplomat Radosław Sikorski scheduled to present Warsaw's viewpoint. Delegates will discuss growing threats to security across the region. Representatives will hold sessions on work being carried out to return Ukrainian children abducted by Russia to their families. The two-day event will also hold talks on preparing for a democratic future of Belarus and the challenges involved in fighting human trafficking. The meeting will bring together the foreign ministers from 57 OSCE participating states and 11 partners for cooperation. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has confirmed that Poland would be invited to next year's G20 summit in Miami, Florida. In recognition of its economic transformation after the fall of the Iron Curtain, Warsaw would be assuming its rightful place among the G20, Rubio said, while also confirming that the U.S. would exclude South Africa from next year's event.
We will be inviting friends, neighbors, and partners to the American G20. We will welcome the world's largest economies as well as burgeoning partners and allies to America's table. In particular, Poland, a nation that was once trapped behind the Iron Curtain, but now ranks among the world's 20 largest economies, will be joining us to assume its rightful place in the G20. Poland's success is proof that a focus on the future is a better path than one on grievances. It shows how partnership with the United States and American companies can promote mutual prosperity and growth.
Diplomacy is in the spotlight again as Ukraine returns to Florida for high-stakes peace talks, and French President Emmanuel Macron presses Beijing to help end the war. At the same time, Vladimir Putin heads to India, underscoring the global scramble for influence as efforts shift from talk of peace to the possibility of a ceasefire.
As emergency crews tackle Russia's overnight air onslaught that left more than 100,000 homes without power, Kyiv's push to end the conflict returns to Florida. The head of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, Rustem Umerov, will later on Thursday sit down with US envoy Steve Witkoff and Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, following inconclusive talks at the Kremlin on Tuesday. Analysts say Kyiv will be looking for more support from Washington in the face of Russian intransigence.
There is a push for peace from Trump's administration, but it seems that there is one significant obstacle. This is Russia. This is Russian President Vladimir Putin, who doesn't want peace at this stage. We'll see. And also Ukrainians will press again Americans to put more pressure on Russia, not to appease Russia, not to kind of please Russia.
The diplomatic push is being reinforced by French President Emmanuel Macron during his trip to China, urging Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping to put pressure on Russia's President Vladimir Putin to end the war.
I hope that China will join us in our efforts to achieve as soon as possible at least a ceasefire in the form of a ban on strikes targeting critical infrastructure. Europe and China have a role to play in working with other partners to lay the foundations for global economic governance that is fair, robust and based on rules rather than the law of the strongest.
It coincides with a trip by Putin to India, which begins on Thursday, his first visit since launching his full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russia remains India's leading oil supplier. But Donald Trump's tariff crackdown is now squeezing Prime Minister Narendra Modi to downgrade his ties with Moscow. Former Indian Foreign Minister Nirupama Rao told TVP World's On the Record that Modi will convey his country's concern about the war.
I am sure that Mr. Modi will very emphatically and with great clarity convey what he has been saying before to President Putin, and also emphasize our continuing very deep concerns about the situation between Russia and Ukraine. We have never been advocates for war and conflict and the disturbance of the principles of territorial integrity and sovereignty.
Meanwhile, Finland's President Alexander Stubb has suggested a change in mindset, from finding a perfect solution for peace to a compromise that results in a ceasefire. For Ukraine's hard-pressed citizens, a fair ceasefire couldn't come soon enough.
The Polish army has received its first Borsuk amphibious infantry fighting vehicles. Nicknamed the Badger, it's a Polish design which in the future is slated to become a key platform for the Polish land forces.
These are the first 15 Borsuk infantry fighting vehicles in service with the Polish army. The ceremonial handover took place on Thursday in Stalowa Wola in southeastern Poland, where the manufacturer of the vehicles, the state-owned Huta Stalowa Wola, or HSW, is headquartered.
This is a great day for Poland's national security. With the Borsuk vehicles, we are now safer. They will be entering service with our land forces, and we will be signing new contracts that will further bolster Poland's security.
The Borsuk is a modern infantry fighting vehicle designed specifically for the Polish military and tailored to its needs. The platform is intended to transport personnel and offer protection under fire. It's armed with an autocannon, an anti-tank missile launcher and a machine gun. By 2029, the Polish army is expected to receive 111 Borsuks for €1.5 billion. But defense officials are saying that this is just the beginning, and many more will be acquired.
The Borsuk replaces the BWP-1, a post-Soviet design, most of which have been donated to Ukraine as military aid. These vehicles must be replaced, and that's where the modern Borsuk IFV comes in, with at least 1,500 units.
This comes amidst Poland's ongoing efforts to substantially boost its military capabilities. In 2025, Poland allocated almost 5% of its gross domestic product to defense.
They were kidnapped at sea. A Polish national is among several crew members abducted after pirates attacked a gas tanker off the coast of Equatorial Guinea. The incident highlights the ongoing threat in the Gulf of Guinea, one of the world's most dangerous maritime zones, despite international efforts to curb piracy.
The Foreign Ministry in Warsaw says a Polish national is among the crew of a ship attacked by pirates off the coast of West Africa. Pirates reportedly seized the tanker near Equatorial Guinea on Wednesday, abducting at least 9 crew members, including the sailor.
Yesterday, in the Gulf of Guinea, an attack occurred on a ship on which one crew member was a Polish citizen. A special team has been established in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to deal with this matter. In consideration of the well-being of the abducted persons and the effectiveness of ongoing procedures, we will not comment on the details of the proceedings at this stage.
The hijacked tanker, the CGAS Saturn, belonging to Christinia Gas, was heading to Malabo, the capital of Equatorial Guinea. Located in Central Africa, Equatorial Guinea is one of the continent's smallest countries.
There have been at least 2 instances of Ukrainian children abducted by Russia, having been forcibly transferred to a camp in North Korea. The revelation comes from Katarina Rashevska of Ukraine's Regional Center for Human Rights, who spoke before a U.S. congressional subcommittee on December 3rd. According to Rashevska's statement, a 12-year-old from Donetsk and a 16-year-old from Simferopol were sent to a Songdowan camp in North Korea. While there, they were taught to, quote, destroy Japanese militarists and meet Korean veterans who, in 1968, attacked the U.S. Navy ship USS Pueblo, killing and wounding 9 Americans. Her testimony came at the beginning of the U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee hearing on Russia's abduction of children. According to Ukraine's National Children of War database, at least 19,500 children have been abducted from Russian-occupied territories since the invasion began in February of 2022. Now on to Polish tech success. The Polish startup Neptune AI has been acquired by OpenAI in a deal reportedly worth under $400 million. The move comes as OpenAI races to strengthen its artificial intelligence capabilities amid growing competition from Google's Gemini platform.
This is Piotr Niedźwiedź, the CEO and founder of Neptune AI, a Polish startup which has just been acquired by OpenAI. According to tech website The Information, OpenAI paid less than $400 million for Neptune in an all-stock deal.
I'm excited to share that we've entered into a definitive agreement to be acquired by OpenAI, subject to closing conditions. We're thrilled to join the OpenAI team and help their AI researchers build better models faster.
Neptune has created software that helps to optimize how AI systems learn. Because the process can be time-consuming and costly, making it more efficient is crucial, as Jakub Pachocki, OpenAI's chief scientist, seen here with Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, explained in a blog post announcing the acquisition.
Neptune has built a fast, precise system that allows researchers to analyze complex training workflows. We plan to iterate with them to integrate their tools deep into our training stack to expand our visibility into how models learn.
The acquisition comes at a critical time for OpenAI, with the company's CEO on Monday announcing code red for the company due to rivals gaining ground in AI. The newest iteration of Google's Gemini AI model is receiving high praise among Silicon Valley luminaries like Mark Benioff, the CEO and co-founder of Salesforce.
Holy shit, I've used ChatGPT every day for 3 years. Just spent 2 hours on Gemini 3. I'm not going back. The leap is insane. Reasoning, speed, images, video, everything is sharper and faster. It feels like the world just changed, again.
Google Gemini can boast 650 million users globally, with 200 million users added just between July and October. For comparison, OpenAI's ChatGPT is used by 800 million people.
It's the 83rd Krakow Nativity Scene Contest, one of the city's most cherished traditions and a UNESCO-recognized cultural heritage event. The grand finale will run from December 7th to the 14th, when this year's winners will be announced in several categories. This year's contestants began showcasing their intricate works today in Krakow's main market square, continuing a tradition that dates back to 1937. Our reporter Alexandra Bulenda was there and brings us this report.
It is the 4th of December and now the main square here in Krakow has transformed into a glimmering gallery of spires. Now, as dozens of handcrafted nativity scenes that you can see right behind me are lined up for Poland's most festive competition this year. Now, it is the 83rd edition of the Krakow Nativity Scenes Contest, a UNESCO-recognized tradition where artists now fuse the story of Christmas with iconic architecture of the city. And I ask one of the contestants what it means for them.
My father made it, my grandfather and my grandfather also, and they also taught each other. Father taught his son, and etc. and etc. It's tradition, it's for Poland, for Krakow, and etc. But then I became an architect and ethnographer. I graduated, so now I'm doing it not only for tradition but also for the artistic expression.
Now, after the exquisite noon trumpet call, the creators will parade their works around the square itself. Now, before moving them to Krzysztofor's palace, which now means that they will stay on display through winter until March next year. So it's a tradition, craftsmanship, and a dash of Christmas magic, all in one square. From Krakow for TVP World, I'm Alexandra Bulenda.
Definitely something to experience if you're down in Krakow. Well, that's all from us for now. Thank you for watching Midday Report, and see you next time. Goodbye.